Well, it's in the car. Just to test fit it. It's gonna come back out, but let's go over what I found out and a couple things I need to change. I'm gonna grab a light here real quick. Is it charged? Sweet, it is fully charged. I like this little, what is it? A prime light from Menards. This little thing right here. It's rechargeable and you can actually charge like a USB off it, but the battery life is kind of weird. Sometimes on a full charge it'll last, 5 hours. Sometimes it'll last 1.5, 2. So it's really hit and miss, but it's really bright and I only use this one for most cases, bright enough. So I'm gonna use it kind of showing around here because it's getting kind of dark here. Well, I got the lights up here, but some areas it's not hitting really well. So it's in the car. I mentioned before, I'm not gonna do that because that's rude. I'm sorry guys, let's figure this out. There, that works great. So this has got the F-body pan in it, and I didn't have to notch the cradle or the engine cross member at all. It fits. I know pretty much everybody notches them. Some said they don't have to, but it's not really post information. I didn't notch it. It fits perfect. What I did notice is you have to get the engine as far back as possible. And I used the generic like $25, $30 LS to small block Chevy plates on the LS. The one thing I had to do is, there's a fly in here and it's driving me nuts. With that, let me grab this light again. Sorry, I'm a mess here. Come on, there we go. So I had to drill out the holes. Is it gonna focus? Is it gonna focus? There. I had to drill out the bolts out of there because they're a 1/2 inch difference. I have the mounts as far forward on those adapter plates as I can get them, and they're still a 1/2 inch away from the stock location. So I asked a couple guys on the Discord, on the Sloppy Discord, and Reaper has been a great help. He's, I guess, worked on plenty of these in the past. Has been giving me some really good info and some stuff to do. So they're 1/2 inch off. Basically, they're going back that far. So he basically is just like, hey, why don't you just like pop those bolts out and just drill holes, mark your holes like I'm gonna do here. It's all set up, ready to go. Mark your holes, drill them out, and then just weld in nuts, and then put those back in and drop the engine out. I'm like, that's easy enough. I can do that. So that's what we're gonna do. So it's already set up. I haven't marked them yet. Basically, I have to go to the 2 bolts up here, and the one underneath is gonna be really fun to get to, but I think we can figure it out, especially with these here. I'll mark these, drill them, and then mark it and weld it down there. Same goes to this side. There's a fly, one fly. There's a single one in here that just wants to land on me. It's driving me nuts. And same with that one. And you can see the phone is focusing on that. So do the same on that side. So 6 holes I need to drill, weld in nuts. I'm gonna keep the bolt in the nut when I weld it so it doesn't, disform as much as possible or it doesn't warp. And then we'll chase it if we have to, but that'll be nice because then we can actually replace the rubber dampeners inside the mounts. If we have to, they seem to be in pretty good shape. So what I was gonna do originally, like I said, I was just gonna say screw it, and I was just gonna clean this up and just weld this whole thing and make it permanent, but then obviously you can't change the dampeners inside or the fillers, where the hell you wanna call them. So it's in here, it's actually bolted to the transmission, bolts up great. The one thing that I did notice here, I actually had to cut that piece off where can you see it? There you go. I had to cut that piece off where it mounts to the coil pack mounts. And this thing is not, actually it is touching, okay, I can see it. It's just touching the heater box. Can this focus? Or are we just gonna have a hot, okay. So the valve cover is just touching it. Just touching it. So what I'm gonna do is I'll take a white marker and I'll go around that area and then poke it in the center. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drill a hole where that's at. And most of these are like fiberglass or plastic. The one in the Corvettes are fiberglass. And I actually just cut that out and I just fiberglassed a little indent in there is all. And this one would be super small. So what I'll actually do is take like a hole saw and then I'll just make a small piece, like just a small dip of fiberglass. I'll actually form it first on something and then I'll put it in there and I'll glass it in, and then what I'll do is I'll just sand that and just spray some paint, black paint over it just to kind of do whatever. So And then that'll be great. This engine is as far back as it can go. I'm just pretty much saying that right now. With that being, with touching, this is as far back as it can go. And that means that the transmission's in the stock location. So if anybody is curious, if you keep the transmission in the stock location and you put an Ellis in here, it's gonna fit. It's really tight to the firewall, which in my opinion, that's the best case scenario, is to get as far back to the firewall as possible. But everything else, I mean, back here is fine. You can get to everything. What's really nice is look at this space here where I can get to everything. The cam sensor, the oil pressure sending unit, like this is nice. I do like that I can just kind of whoop, and then get my hand in there and take care of business. So I'm glad this is in. Reaper actually is sending me some manifolds from an LS3 Camino. So they're supposed to fit in this thing. And when they come in, I'll get them test fitted and we can, you know, just fit them in there and see how they look. But, if I can get under there, I'll show you. So like I said, this has got the F-body oil pan. I'm gonna try my best here. Bear with me. I'm not the best at doing this. Let's see if I can see it here. Don't mind my finger. You see it? So there we are. There is the oil pan, and no, it is not hitting the cross member. There is probably like a 1/4 inch from the cross member, and it fits perfect. Here, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see how far back I can go without everybody vomiting. That's also a brake line too, if you can see that right out there. How far can I go? How far can I go? Let's keep sliding her. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. I can't get on the car any further, but I can get my phone further and crush my lungs. Can you see it? How's it look? Does it look great? You guys like me yet? So there we are. It works. Knowing this, I'm gonna keep using F-body oil pans in everything I build. Why? Because they're cheap. They're a low profile. You can build a baffle for them cheap, and they work. I've never had one fail on me, like sucking air. I mean, high horsepower stuff, but I just put baffles in them. The same thing I do with Trailblazer SS ones. Actually didn't, I want to change one up in here. I want to try something new versus like this little L piece with the 3 holes. I want to try something different. I want to do like a triangle fold and then put it in there and see how well that works. But tried and true, is just the little L piece with 3 holes on the top. Pop riveted in. You got double baffle. So that's the little update there. The next plan of attack, like I mentioned, is to drill the holes and get those marked and get the nuts in there drilled, or get the nuts in there welded, and then get this back in. Once the motor's back in, it's in, and we just keep going from there. So this will come back out when that's marked, and then we will obviously get the manifolds in. My father-in-law actually ordered a exhaust kit, a 2.5 inch exhaust kit with mufflers, so we're just gonna make our own exhaust kit, true duals out the back, kind of similar to what I did in the Corvette. So we're gonna do that. And I got some wiring downstairs in the basement that I'm half done with. I've like been down there for a year. I just gotta loom the other stuff, but it's all labeled. Excuse me, and it's all there. So I just gotta hook up, you know, a fuse box, a couple relays. And what we can do is we get everything plugged in. I got a fuel pump up there that I can throw in one of those things and a return in there, and then I can actually just start it in here the way it is. Of course, we're gonna have to get the transmission lines connected to the radiator, or we're gonna have to loop them. I think I'll just loop them because I've done that just for the time being. And then that way, transmission, I mean, obviously it's gonna be connected and we're not puking trans fluid everywhere. And then we can get that fired and tested, see how that sounds, see how it works, and then we'll just keep going on with this. But it fits, we got it. It looks good. The engine cover, if you put it on there, the hood won't fit, I don't think, because I mean, the stock hood, man, the stock hood is gonna be close. Just keep going down. The stock hood is gonna be close. There's a little bit of bump in that hood, a little bit, not a lot. The important part, I mean, there's a little lift on there, so I think we'll be all right. We'll test it. If not, we'll put a car intake on this. Or, yeah, because I think what it's going to do, in the worst case, it's actually going to hit. Man, is it going to hit? I wonder if it'll even, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's going to be close. If it doesn't fit, we'll put a car intake on there. We'll put like an LS2 intake on and adapter. I could just put an LS4 on there and just make it look hideous and put a cover on it and then just make way less horsepower. But you can get LS2 manifolds new for not too bad, and they make plenty of power. I mean, in my opinion, they're just as good as an LS6, and if not better in some cases. I've looked at dyno maps, and Richard Holder did one a long time ago, and I believe the LS6 made the same or just a little bit more, but I mean, they're good in my opinion. So we'll just have the adapter for that, and then what you do is with the truck alternator bracket, the idler pulley that sits like right here, you basically cut that piece of aluminum off, and then you basically just move it like down this way towards the power steering pump. So I've done that plenty of times. It works really well, and it's fairly cheap. You can like actually just bolt it straight to an open spot. I don't like doing that. I'd rather have the triangle mount that's got 2 bolts that go onto the block or onto the adapter itself, and then the pulley. I just feel like that's a little bit more rigid, but a lot of people just put the bolt right into the right into the bracket as well, which, I mean, honestly, it's probably a horse a piece. It's probably just as strong, but you can get those brackets. I think those brackets now are Chinese made, billet, and I think they're like $15. So it's not that big of a deal. So that's the update. We're gonna keep going on with this. I'm hoping the next update is when these things are drilled and the nuts are in and the engine's back in. And then what we can do is we can put the manifolds on and get a couple other things tidied up. I can make an update about how all of that fits in here. But there you go. Cheap mounts do work. If you want to do just a little bit of work on it, not a lot, I'm gonna do that as well. But you can use an F-body oil pan. I know some people said it'd probably just be cheaper or easier just to notch that and pull the engine forward with the transmission. No, keep the transmission in the stock spot for me. It's great. As further back as you can get is better in my opinion. You guys have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye.